Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Partha. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki. O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 17th Adhyaya, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. And Sri Krishna is explaining to us about the threefold nature of the person, nature of this Jivatman, nature of this Dehinam, and how the threefold Shraddha begets out of that inherent nature. And again, this is kind of a cycle. This kind of cycle that the nature begets Shraddha, and Shraddha makes a man behave in certain manner. The inherent Shraddha, like the inherent nature of each person, which can be Sattvik, which can be Rajasic, which can be Tamasic. When the Jivatman takes birth, the Jivatman with that inherent nature, also the Shraddha starts sprouting in taking the shape of that inherent nature. Shraddha starts sprouting, taking the nature, taking that aspect of the nature. If it is a Sattvik tendency, then it is a Sattvik Shraddha. If it is a Rajasic tendency, then it is a Rajasic Shraddha. If it is Tamasic tendency, then it is a Tamasic Shraddha. Now, depending on this Shraddha which is predominant in that being, in that life, depending on that predominance, the person also starts behaving accordingly. So again, the next set of account book is getting ready. What lies ahead in the next birth? This birth also starts with a carry forward account. The account is carried forward. And depending on the type of Shraddha, that person again starts behaving in that fashion only. Now, whichever form, whichever guna is dormant at certain time, whichever guna is dominant at certain time, the person will start behaving accordingly, and accordingly the book of accounts, the account book will start making the entries accordingly. Now, this is what Sri Krishna had told us in the third shloka, and he is going to tell about the same thing henceforth, that how a person starts behaving, how a person performs the actions, how a person worships. So this is what Krishna had told us in the third shloka that we read, that Sattvanurupa Sarvasya, the inherent nature of all the beings, Shraddha Bhavati Bharata, O Bharata, O Arjuna, the Shraddha begets. Shraddha gets formed in that birth according to that inherent nature. If the seed is from a mango tree, the mango tree will only germinate once that seed sprouts. If that seed is of, say, mustard, that tiny seed, then mustard crop only will come out of that seed. If the tiniest of the seed is of the mighty banyan tree, After that seed germinates, it won't it won't grow as any other plant or any other tree. It will grow only as the banyan tree. So inherent nature of every person determines what kind of Shraddha that person is going to be endowed with. Sattva anurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddhamayoyam purushaha yaha yajante sa eva saha. One becomes that which just as his or her Shraddha determines that person to become. Shraddhamayaha. Every being consists of this Shraddha. Now, what type of person that person is going to be, whether that person is going to be sattvic person, rajasic person, tamasic person, that will be determined by Shraddha of that person. Yat Shraddha sa eva saha. That person will become like what his or her Shraddha is. So that was the third shloka that we read. Let us see in the fourth shloka now what Sri Krishna is going to tell us. He is going to tell us about the worshipping mode of such people. That how the people with the sattvika tendencies they worship, how people with rajasic tendencies they worship, how people with tamasic tendencies they worship, and what is the consequences of those respective worships, the way of worship. Yajante sāttvikā devānyakṣarakṣaṃsi rājasāḥ pretānbhūtagaṇāṃścānye yajante tāmasā janāḥ. Now, Sri Krishna is telling us these three types of people. These three types of people with three different natures. Because of the three respective Shraddhas that these people are begetting. Because of their inherent natures. The Sattvik, Rajasic, Tamasic, how they worship. Now, even if they are not worshipping as per the scriptural injunctions, the doubt that Arjuna had raised at the start of this adhyaya, they will worship anyway, but they will worship according to the Shraddha that they beget. That the Shraddha that grows in them, which again depends on their inherent nature. Now Sri Krishna says, yajante sāttvika devan. The person with the sattvika tendencies, yajante, will worship whom? Nothing but the purest of the law gods. He will get into the worshipping mode. He will worship, that person will worship only the gods and deities. But yajante rājasāḥ, the one endowed with the rajasic attributes, the rajasic tendency, in whom the rajasic type of Shraddha has grown, that person may not be following scriptural injunctions, but with that rajasic Shraddha will automatically keep on worshipping the yakshas and the rakshasas. Yaksha is a demigod kind of thing, the celestial beings. Rakshasas is again kind of demonly creatures, the devilish creatures, who do no good to anybody. Yakshas at least don't, their intention is not harming anybody. They may do it in a manner of teasing somebody, in a manner of some fun and frolic. Their intention may not be bad, not like the Rakshasas. But their activity somehow kind of brings some kind of calamity on people. They might be doing it in a purely fun-oriented way. That is how the yakshas, the demigods, the celestial beings, they are projected in the mythological treatises. That they will do something not out of the intention of bringing harm, but it will end up into some kind of disaster. So that is what these yakshas and rakshasas, their intention itself is doing harm. Their intention itself is unholy. Their intention itself is wretched. Now the people with the rajasic tendency, they will worship only the yakshas and rakshasas. And what about the third kind of the third type of the people? pretānbhūtagaṇāṃścānye yajante tāmasā janāḥ. Tamasic people, the people with predominant tamas. Whom are they yajante? They are worshipping all kind of the deadly beings, the bhutagana, the ghosts, and the spirits, all kind of that category, who again are into absolutely doing no good kind of thing. These ghosts, the beings which are hanging between different hells, the bhutagana. Bhutagana is basically nature spirits. Preta is also again a dead bodies, kind of the dead spirits and the nature spirits. So pretan bhutaganan anye yajante, and also the other types of these unholy kind of categories they will keep on worshipping. Most impure, most hideous, most uncalled for. Nobody will pray such worship such kind of creatures, for that matter, such kind of beings which are looked so down by all the highly evolved beings. So this is what Sri Krishna says, that depending upon their nature, depending upon the gunas that they inherit, depending upon the Shraddha that they inherit, these people, they will start performing the worships in all those different manners. The people with the sattva guna predominant, they will worship nothing but gods, goddesses, deities. They won't compromise in their goal of worship. They won't compromise. If they are not seeking their chosen ideal, doesn't matter. I will take another birth, but I will keep on worshipping my chosen ideal. If the chosen ideal is Rama or Krishna or Buddha or Jesus or whatever it is, or Ramakrishna or Kali or Durga, they will keep on worshipping those holy and the highly evolved ideals. They may also get into the worshipping the Nirakar, worshipping the Paramatman, worshipping the Parabrahman. They may get into that mode of making an attempt to realize oneness with that Nirakar, the ultimate Purush, the Purushottama. But they won't come down from that ideal. Their ideal is set. There is no compromise. Even if they don't attain to that ideal, that doesn't matter. They will wait for millions of births, but there is no compromise. They won't come down on the principles of worship. But others, they may. If they don't see any, if the person of Rajasic type may start worshipping the chosen deity, but if there are no results, then, okay, let me see which other deity can fulfill my wishes. Which other deity can give me what I want. And if that deity somehow happens to be the Yaksha and the Rakshas, they won't even think twice and start worshipping those demigods and celestial beings and the demonic people and the devilish deities. So this is what happens with the Rajasic type of people. They will worship anything to gain their benefit. You know, that benefit is always in their mind. I need to get something. Their entire objective of worship is to gain something. Objective of worship of the Sattvikas is not to gain anything. It is just to surrender, to give up at the holy feet. That is the attitude of the Sattvikas. Of the Rajasikas, the attitude is to gain something. And in that gaining something, they may not feel bad at all if someone is getting hurt. They may not feel bad at all. And then the third type the tamasic, if they know that they are going to get something only by harming somebody, that is, they will certainly do it. They won't even think twice. And if by harming somebody, if they get something once they want, they will keep on doing that again and again and again. And in turn, what happens? Again, that the tamasic influence will start adding up to the inherited tendencies. That tamasic influence will start getting accumulated to our account balance. And again, the outcome is going to be next birth again in the tamasic form. So Sattvika men worship the devas, the deities, Rājasika, the yakshas and the rakshasas. The others, the tamasika men, they worship the pretas, the ghosts and hosts of other bhutas, the spirits. Men commingle with men in accordance with their temperament and disposition. Forget about the worship. Even in forming friendships. Normally, it always happens that mostly the like-minded people, they come together. They become friends in such a quick time. They become friends instantly. If two natures are matching, like begets like. That's what the saying goes. So, if it is a tamasic Shraddha, automatically the other side of the being worshipped, one who is being worshipped, also has to be of the sattvic tendency, or rather much more than that. So, it is but natural that good associate with good, the bad with the bad. That is what happens. This classification goes on in the realm of worship as well. The Sattvika group takes to the adoration of Paramatman. The Sattvika is, which is basically focused on the purity. Yes, the entire devotion of worship is towards the purity. Then these people, they start worshipping the Paramatman, the Paramapurusha, the Purushottama. Maybe in different forms or maybe the formless, but their ideal is very clear. The ideal of worship is extremely clear. It has to be that pure. It has to reflect that purity. It has to reflect that light, that illumination. The Rājasika type attributes to the deity or deities characteristics which are their own. The Rājasikas, they will go for the deities, they will go for the objects of worship, which are very much suiting to their nature. Their nature is activity, their nature is fun, their nature is doing mischiefs for that matter. If some mischief is done, they don't worry about it. But if a sattvic person does any mischief, then there is a whole lot of repentance. Why I did it? Why I did it? And then a word of commitment to the chosen deity. I am never going to do it again. I made that mistake, but that was my last mistake. I am never going to repeat it. And with that kind of assurance given to the deity, they follow that path of purity again. But for the Rājasic, no, that playing mischief, doing mistakes is just a matter of routine for them. Revenge, wrath, vandalism, mischiefs, these are the traits attributed by Rājasika men to their gods whom they worship ardently. Their gods are also like them only. That their gods will also get into the activities of doing some funny things, doing some harm, little harm, more harm, biggest harm. And that kind of deities, these Rājasika people, they start worshipping. The Tamasika men are lazy and ignorant and tottering in the dark. Their conception of godhood is in tune with their disposition. They think of God just like what they are inside. Ultimately, God is nothing but a projection of we are inside. So that is the simplest way of explaining how people tend to worship different gods and different goddesses, different ghosts and different devils, different celestial beings, different demigods. So what they are inside, that's what they seek in that deity. What they are inside, what the inherent nature they are carrying inside, they try to seek in the object of worship. So the god they worship, the tamasikas, the gods they worship is also a wild deity that delights in hurting, destroying people. It is exactly as per their nature. There is no enlightenment, there is no illumination at the end of that worship for the tamasic people. So Sri Krishna says, this is what happens when people of the different dispositions, people endowed with different type of Shraddha, how they behave in their matter of worship also. That was a good eye-opener of Krishna to Arjuna and to all of us as to the mode of our behavior of worship. Whether it is worshipping the purest of the pure, whether it is worshipping just an ordinary kind of stuff, or whether it is worshipping something which is dastardly, which is most destructive, which is going to bring a lot of harm to everything around. So our inner nature is going to determine our mode of worship. Let us close our eyes for a moment and think and contemplate on what kind of worship are we actually following, what kind of the Shraddha that we have possessed in this life. Let us think upon that and let us try to get more and more of that sattva guna imbibed into our inherent nature so that the next birth is a smooth sail for us towards liberation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swami.